Welcome to One Verse. First, we want to thank you all for sending in suggested verses for us to challenge our guests. Today we have Todd Hostetler, pastor at City on a Hill Teaching Center, and with him is Jeff Millslegel, a Bible teacher at City on a Hill. And here is the random verse for the day. So Todd, you're going to go first. It is Mark 11:15. So it's in the New Testament. That's Mark 11:15. And that says, so they came to Jerusalem. Then Jesus went into the temple and began to drive out those who bought and sold in the temple, and overturned the tables of money changers and the seats of those who sold doves. So that's Mark 11:15.
This is just after the triumphal entry that Jesus had, which is one of the great, images. Again, I refer back to Israel for probably the third time in the last 3 weeks. But this is one of the great places, if you ever get a chance to go to Israel, to stand across the Kidron Valley and look at Jerusalem and know that this is the place. From this point, Jesus was on that donkey and made his triumphal entry with all that massive singing and taking place. So that's what's just taken place. And then after Jesus has made his triumphal entry into Jerusalem, this is when he comes in. We see this now with the money changers. And let me read it again. It says, then they came to Jerusalem, and they entered the temple and began to drive out those who were buying and selling in the temple, and overturned the tables of the money changers and the seats of those who were selling doves. So what we see taking place here, and why Jesus was so upset about this, and this is the righteous anger that we see in Jesus. The reason he's so upset is because you have, what is a money changer? A money changer is the person who is there not because he is there on the Temple Mount trying to help you make sure that your spiritual experience with God is pure and holy, and that there's nothing impeding you and keeping anything between you and God. That's not what they care about. So here we are at the temple. This is the spiritual and cultural center of the Jewish people. And when you have the 3 festivals a year where all the Jews are required to come, you have masses of Jews coming right to this place. And it is a huge, huge platform, and it's a huge temple area. But when people come, they have to make sacrifices. This is before Jesus, so they have to make sacrifices, and they make the sacrifices according to what the law says, and there is money that you have to buy, but because people are coming from, again, all Jews are required to come during these 3 feasts. So the people come, but they're coming from all around. It's not even just Israel. They're coming from all around the Mediterranean, from Africa, from Turkey, from what would be even Italy. They're coming from all, and even farther beyond. So there's a lot of different kinds of money that they're bringing in, and they have to buy these sacrifices. So you have to exchange your money for the temple money. So these are people who don't really care about your spiritual experience or well-being. They are there to make a profit off of what is required for you. They're one more hindrance between people being all that they need to be and that God wants. They're standing between that relationship between individuals and men, and they're making a profit off of it. And this is why you see Jesus being so upset about this. Now, the thing for us to remember out of all of this is you get that whole picture. The thing to remember out of all this is, I think another reason that Jesus was so upset about this is because this is the sacrifices that were being made for men so that they could, because of the sacrifices, because there's a blood sacrifice for sin, there has to be a shedding of blood. This is to establish that relationship that they have with God so that they can receive the benefits from God. I think the reason that Jesus is so upset is because he knows he is going to become the perfect sacrifice, the sacrifice lamb for all who would receive him. One sacrifice for all. And in the same way that you had those money changers then who were not respecting that sacrifice that was to bring men to God, even today, I'm sure he knew that even hundreds of years, thousands of years later, people would still not respect the sacrifice that he made with his blood. It's a powerful moment. And it's a powerful moment that we see in not just Mark, but in other Gospels as well. Jeff, I'll turn it over to you.
So let me paint a picture for you. Let's imagine you were living in this time, and you lived in Bethlehem. Or maybe you lived in the north, you lived in Nazareth or Cana, and that you decided you were going to go to the temple, you were going to follow the law, and you took your lamb down there, and you made the journey down there, and you popped into Jerusalem, you got to the temple, and your lamb was examined by the priest, and all of a sudden the priest says, this isn't going to work. We got a problem with, it's got a lame foot, or I don't think it's fur, it's wool. It is proper, whatever. But you know what? We can fix you up here because you can actually exchange this and buy one of our guaranteed pre-approved lambs. What do you think about that? And to do that, however, you're going to have to change your money that you use because we don't want any of those Roman coins. You're going to have to use our temple money, or however they did that. So, of course, you go over, and lo and behold, I just happen to have a lamb that's going to work. But, it actually costs, I don't know, about twice as much as a lamb that you would buy at your home in town in Cana or Nazareth or Bethlehem. But they can fix you up. Guaranteed it's going to be, the guy that sells it to you, guaranteed it's going to be taken care of. And, of course, you go use that. Now, I go through this whole scenario because what does that do? Well, that just infuriates you, don't it? And then you think next year, do I want to do this again? Because, man, I know it's going to cost me. It's not just the journey. I've already paid a lot of money just to raise the little lamb and take care of it. And I got to cart it on down here. And I know the dude's going to reject it anyhow. He's going to make me change money and go through all this, and I get ripped off on every single part of the transaction. Well, Jesus sees this, and he's infuriated with this. Overturns the tables of the money change. Can you imagine that? He just walks in there and grabs the table, flips it over. What happens? Coins go everywhere. Have you ever been in a room where someone drops money, coins? What happens? All the attention is drawn right to the money, and they see all this. And I imagine a lot of conversation stops, and he just goes on. He goes on here saying, my house shall be called a house of prayer for all nations. You've made it, watch this, a den of thieves. Okay, this wasn't a good thing that was going on here, and he's very quickly addressing that. He does not want somebody hindered from going into the temple and worshiping. God doesn't want to hinder anybody from coming to him. And sometimes we put so many roadblocks of things, and we want people to, whatever, we just lay out all sorts of things that we want them to do. But he's making this point of saying, look, you can't make this a business money thing. This isn't a get-rich-quick thing. This isn't something you just want to do to make money at it. If you're going to be exchanging temple money, you want to drive people to worship, not drive people to pay you money for whatever it is that you're doing. Another thing about this verse is, and I mentioned this a couple episodes ago, we tend to think of Jesus as almost a wimpy character. And I don't see that happening here. This took a lot of gall to walk in there in the midst of all this, just rip these tables apart, throw the stuff, and I can imagine there was all sorts of people going, oh, I can't believe he did that. But it's like, yeah, this is what I'm doing. And he's basically telling them, you cannot do this. You make my house a house of prayer, but you've made it a den of thieves where thieves live, and I'm not going to have any part of it. And of course, a little bit later, verse 18, and I got to stop here, the scribes and Pharisees heard it and sought how they might to destroy him because he was taken away their source of revenue. All right, Pastor Paul, I could go a long time on this one. I love this section. All right, Pastor Todd, go ahead. Wrap it up for us.
Just two things, some of the verbiage that's used in the verse. First of all, it says that he drove out the money changers. And then another word that is key to me is overturned. So he drove out the money changers and he overturned their tables. This is just, again, a beautiful picture of exactly what Jesus has done in your life because of the victory that he had on the cross and the victory that is now yours because you've accepted Jesus Christ. He has drove out all of the lies, the deceptions, all of the hindrances of the enemy. He's driven them out. He's driven them out. You can stand on that and enforce that. And he has overturned the tables. He has overturned everything that Satan has done to spoil your life. He has overturned that authority, and he has overturned all of those plans, evil plans, that the enemy had for you. He drove them out, and he overturned them. It's just a beautiful picture of exactly what he would do on the cross. It is Mark chapter, Mark chapter 11, verse number 15. Thanks for joining us. We look forward to seeing you again next time on One Verse.